Hey guys, welcome back to the Ten Hill Studio podcast. And today I'm with one of my really good friends.
Yup.
We have Piyush Chaube, also known as YÜSH.
Was good.
Welcome YÜSH to the podcast,
Cheers,
and
bro. Thank you for having me,
it's great to have you.
as
And
always.
um, so for people that don't know you, like, how would you describe yourself?
It depends on which persona you're asking about.
Uh, tell us everything. Tell us YÜSH first as your artist
Alright,
a
alright,
persona, and then tell us a little bit about yourself.
alright. Word. So the name is YÜSH. I really often describe it as designed in California, made in India. Because like I lived a lot of my life in the US with the love of my life. At the same time, I was born and raised here. I mean, I'm Indian through and through, but then just got a little bit more flavor in me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do. I'm a rapper, singer, songwriter. At the same time, I have a little bit of dance in the background. I have my homies that are part from the crew and shit. So, music and dance has been like a huge part of my life, and I found a happy middle ground where I can inculcate both and push and make music what I like listening to.
For sure.
Hmm.
So, taking like kind of going back a little bit, because like we've known each other since school, we were in the same class, everything.
Yep.
And you were obviously super involved in dance and music at the time.
Yeah.
So, how would you say, like, kind of growing up in Calcutta and even going to the school that we went to, kind of helped inspire or kind of maybe you took certain aspects from into then like your music career and then
Yeah.
just life, I guess.
Yeah, man. Plus, I'm glad that you asked that question because it's really easy to talk about your background when you are also a part of the background.
Right.
I still remember in 12th grade when I was like, we were representing the school in music, and then for some reason, our principal banned us from taking part. And it was dance. And I remember the entire prefect body went and spoke. You were one of them. It was like, sir, Piyush Chaubey is the only one who's performing from class 12. Please
Right.
let him perform.
Yeah, yeah.
And it turns out he banned us from doing it because some fourth graders trashed the music room. This is easy to talk about, but like this has shaped a lot of my stuff. I mean, even something as small as I get to represent the school in dance or music or whatever. I had
Right.
my community and my homies backing me up when things got rough, and that kind of shaped my personality as well in
Right,
terms
for
of key.
sure.
Not everything is cut and dry. Like a lot of things can go down left and right, and as long as you have your community, I mean, things can move forward.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, in terms of like with the dancing stuff, because I
Mhm.
remember that was like a big part of like even
Yeah.
the school kind of environment and culture and stuff.
Hmm.
So, how do you think, like, or do you think dance has ever played a role into like the music aspect of you, or
Dude.
vice versa? Like, how do you kind of, feed off each other?
Right. I mean, they go hand in hand. It's a happy marriage. I mean, if you want me to take you way back, I mean, I got into music and dance when I was like 9 years old.
Right.
I got a guitar, and in the same year, I was enrolled in dance classes because every Indian parent wants to throw their child into
Do
multiple
something.
avenues, and whatever sticks to the wall, that's exactly what you run with. But in my case, a lot of things I stuck with. So music and dance was something that has been there since the ages. And what I used to love listening to, used to love dancing to, and sometimes what I used to love dancing to, I'd love to pick it up on the guitar or learn to sing it.
Nice.
So it worked hand in hand.
So, what was, I guess, like your earliest music inspirations in terms of artists and like
Oh
bands
man.
and stuff? Because obviously, growing up, like we were kind of into bands and stuff because
Hmm.
rock music was still a thing.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, like tell us a little bit about both and whether or not like hip hop was super big at the time. Like I remember there was some R&B and obviously the mainstream hip hop artists were
It's
there.
whatever bled through, whatever hip hop bled through into the pop and
Pop, yeah,
mainstream.
yeah.
That's
Like
exactly what we heard.
50 Cent and
Yeah, 50 Cent,
R.
Eminem,
Kelly,
dude.
Eminem,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, more so Chris Brown at that time because even he was blowing up.
Yeah.
What was that song, man? Everyone used to dedicate to each other when we were like crushing on someone. Forever by Chris Brown.
Oh, nice.
That's the one song that goes out to everyone. But yeah, back then I would say that like even my musical background specifically is so diverse. Like my earliest memory was I was in a band with Nishchay Parekh and
Mm.
Shaumik Biswas, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and Rohit and Bonko as well.
Yeah.
And that kind of taught me what it is to play with other members, like jugalbandi, so to speak. Like you vibe off of each other. Someone
Right.
will give you a beat, you play the bass line with it.
Right.
I remember I used to play bass and do backing vocals with them, and that kind of like pushed me to, like, if I had the bass and backing vocals, I was like, okay, the next step is a six string and doing lead vocals. And that's exactly what happened. After the band with them, I kind of did my own thing. I remember our school friends, Debu and Ani and Umang, we were all in a band together in class 10,
Right.
11,
Yeah.
12.
Yeah. I remember that.
Trio Plus is legendary. Shout out Umang, Ani, and Debu. And Darpan, of course. And that was great. And that kind of taught me how to, like, you know, work with each other and lead a team, see what other things we can do, take musical inspiration from someone else as well. So
Right.
because of this, I was like exposed to like a diverse range of musical artists. Like, I don't want to name drop them, but it was all rock bands. Like
Yeah.
you would say, like, you have your Green Days and Coldplays, and
Yeah.
Umang was big part of Linkin Park, so I heard all of that
Yeah.
shit. But what I do actually kind of regret, which I look back now and I'm like, damn, I had more of this, was a lot more hip hop, R&B, uh, and a little bit more holistic product that came out of the US and UK.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know, I think the internet also pushed a lot of the globalization of entertainment when we got older. But back then, it was like whatever was the CD you got in Music World, that's
Right.
exactly what you're listening to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely agree. That was like a big, I guess, like we basically only mostly heard like the popular stuff essentially
Bro,
that
yeah.
came out.
Yeah.
And it was tough to actually access like a lot of music from like other
True.
places and stuff.
True.
So in terms of like, if you had to kind of go back, who were some of your like music idols and stuff?
Okay, so they were mostly like singers that I used to look
Okay.
up to a lot. I mean, a lot of them have been cancelled now. So that's
It's
another
okay.
thing.
That was in the past. Like,
I mean, I used to listen to a lot of like Green Day, Coldplay, Maroon 5, a lot of John Mayer, Jack Johnson, Jason Mraz. I mean, that kind of like inculcated the theoretical approach to music when you're
Sure.
playing on a guitar and picking up notes and chords and stuff.
So when did you get into like songwriting? Because I know that that's a big part. And since you mentioned John Mayer and Jason Mraz, they're like your very typical kind of singer songwriters,
Yeah, like
right?
very college fuck boy. You can believe that if you want, but like that's. I mean, I grew up with that, and
Yeah.
I can't deny it and change what I used to listen to. That doesn't mean I'm a fuck boy. I'm just saying like
Yeah.
that it shaped my musical way. But then in class, I remember in 11 and 12, I got inspired by a lot of the people I used to play with and started writing my own stuff. And that was a lot of like teenage heartbreak, you know what I mean? Because that's where we
Angsty.
were. The
Yeah.
angsty, slightly angst, you have the rasp in your voice, you know? So I
Dil
wrote.
dukha diya,
Yeah. Like a lot of Darde disco minus the disco.
Just that.
Just Dard. But yeah, I mean, I wrote like a small EP of 4 songs that you probably will never find because everything is private or removed.
You should always like keep
Yeah,
the catalog somewhere.
it'll be there. If I become really big, then it'll be it's the archive, the
Be the
B side.
drops.
Yeah. So then I wrote a couple of songs then, and then I also wrote a couple of. I started truly writing when I was in the US. So I lived there for like 4.5, 5 years, and I moved back here. Joined the family business, got really into fashion and fashion manufacturing at this. So I wanted to pursue that and went back to the US.
Yeah. So I just want to kind of transition or have few questions about your college experience. So,
Okay.
so you went to Cali, right? I think Chapman University.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And
Go Panthers.
and I remember like a lot of what you used to put out online were like these different covers and stuff. You were singing to
Yeah.
different girls and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, so what was like your music experience at Chapman, and what did you take away from that experience?
Okay, so I'm glad that you asked that because a lot
I
of
don't think I've even asked that in like person? Like I
No.
just like a
No, a
random.
lot of people don't know, right? Because you end up growing up with people to the
Right,
point where you're living the same life.
right,
But then you notice that, like, for example, you were heavy into science and
right.
like getting into engineering and stuff,
Yeah,
and you come back one day and you're like, bro, I'm opening a store. Can I
yeah,
come see your factory? And I was like,
right,
where did this come
yeah.
from?
Right.
So
I
it's like,
also don't post anything online,
that's
so
true. That's
yeah,
true. I'm a little bit more vocal, but
yeah,
people never like sit down and think like, "Hey, when did you start writing? Like,
right,
you were playing guitar, but now you're releasing hip hop and R&B music.
right.
Like,
Yeah,
what's up with
yeah,
that?"
yeah.
But I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
So in Chapman, what I used to do was do a lot of open mics.
Okay.
I was in fact contacted by the events board of Chapman also to come do events for them. So I was doing like a lot of solo singer songwriter stuff. Um, that's when I used to play my original music. The
Okay.
stuff that I wrote in 12th grade, I played over freshman and sophomore year. Um, but then I realized like when I wanted to write more, I couldn't write more because the music I was listening to was a lot of hip hop and R&B, and that
Mm-hmm.
time EDM was really blowing up as well. And when you're going to college parties, these are the three things you hear. You hear electronic dance music, you hear hip hop, and you hear a little bit of R&B here and there, and pop mostly. So once I started listening to that, I had cognitive dissonance because I was like, I love listening to this, but when I sit down, I'm trying to write songs that I don't really like listening to right
Right.
now. Um,
Yeah, I can speak to that because like even when I went to college and it was like so much of new music and
mhm,
meeting so many different kinds of people and kind of sharing music and like you really get a sense of how much there truly is in terms of music. And
bro.
then if hip hop just happened to be, I guess, one of the things that you just really get into and you listen to on a more casual basis.
Mhm.
So in terms of like you were saying, like how did you kind of then switch from talking like kind of writing these like heartbreaking like singer songwriter songs and then transition to kind of more of like an R&B and then rap
Mhm. Mhm.
kind of style
Well, yeah,
essentially.
I would say more so hip hop than R&B. I mean, the
Yeah.
R&B part comes from a lot of the heartbreak and love and whatnot. But I was really attracted to the hip hop side. I mean, when we were in college, it was around the same time Good Kid, Mad City, and 2014 Forest Hills Drive dropped.
Hmm.
And what drove me to their songs was the storytelling,
Yeah.
because that's the number one thing that was common from whatever I used to hear back in the day. Because
Hmm.
when you listen to rock bands and band music and indie music in general, like indie band music, they tell stories. They
Right.
whether it be just a moment, a fragment of time, or like the entire phase, they write about it.
Right.
That's exactly what drew me to like Kendrick and J. Cole, was their storytelling. And then it was like, the foundation of dance and rhythm came into me. So when you take poetry and storytelling and you add a flow to it and put it on beats that slap,
Right.
who's not, I am definitely gonna love it. So that's what drew me. I was like,
Right.
this is so much more compelling, and you hear about reality. I mean, some rappers like to call themselves historians because they're
Hmm.
literally
For
like,
sure.
they're telling you what's happening in their lives.
Yeah.
um, which is a whole other conversation, that what drives what. I don't want to get into it, but that's what drew me. I got
So
attracted to it.
yeah, in terms of like even hip hop, what drew me into hip hop again was like the storytelling aspect, but it
Hmm.
just went so much deeper
Hmm.
in the storytelling because, like you said, it basically is like almost spoken word poetry, but with rhythm and flow and like
Dude,
beats and bounce and
exactly.
stuff like that.
Exactly.
And since you mentioned Good Kid, Mad City, like that was like definitely one of the albums that really changed
Man,
everything, bro. Like,
man, I get chills still thinking
yeah,
about that
yeah.
album,
I think it's still like definitely top five favorite albums of all time for
bro.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I have Good Kid up there, Mr. Morale that just came out. That's a whole different type of storytelling where it's
Mm-hmm.
more like internal than it is external. Like, it's more about him living what's happening inside and telling you what's happening,
Yeah.
rather than what Good Kid, Mad City was. He was living outside and
Outside.
telling you what's happening
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah, Good Kid,
Yeah.
Mad City was very much like, hey, this is the environment I've been in and been subjected to, and these
Oof,
were my
yeah.
thoughts while I was in this environment,
Dude,
and
yes.
it's just crazy. Like, I mean, that album's
Yeah.
crazy.
I
Like,
mean, I only aspire to get there. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And I feel like that's, um, this is the dangerous comparative you can get into, where it's like you look up to these people and you kind of want to like
Yeah.
write like them, but then when you start off, it's really it's
Yeah.
difficult. You know what I
I
mean?
think like instead of probably looking at them and kind of maybe copying them, what I think what is to take away is, like you said, the storytelling
Yep.
aspect.
Yep.
That's what you like about them.
Hmm.
It's not like J. Cole and Kendrick sound similar or make the same kind of music,
Exactly.
but they both have that storytelling aspect to
Yep.
it, right?
Yep.
And they're
Yep.
both being real and kind of honest and talking about like the environment and stuff like that.
Dude, yes. Yes.
So, in terms of right now, like when you are making music, like how important is your environment and inspirations from your environment?
Dude, yes. I'm glad you asked that, because a lot of my early stuff that I did take out, like So Let's Go and even No Stress for that matter, it was all around my friends. Like I feel like my crew, Dave, Zed, all these people, they are the ones who've driven me forward. Their creativity inspires my creativity.
Right.
And that goes back to me being in my band days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You vibe off and bounce back each other, and that's what used to happen with the crew as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that community has been and is really important to me still date, till date rather.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I miss it because now everyone's like globe trotting. They're here and there. They're killing it in the industry. Like you see them dancing, you see them shooting stuff, you see them, like really pushing forward what they love doing. And I miss that right now because I'm so involved in my work and just the setting up like our new project and everything, that I'm not part of that community. So I've not been able to like, push myself or have that drive that pushes me, where it's like, okay, keep writing. I do write here and there. I have a couple excerpts that I've just not been able to compile and make it coherent. But that community is important. And because
Yeah.
it's not there, it's kind of slowed me down. Not gonna lie.
For sure. And so I guess since you mentioned So Let's Go and you have a newer song, Black Lace, as
Yep.
well.
Hmm.
And so like I guess talk to us a little bit about how that happened. And they're really, really, really good songs.
Cheers, bro. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
And so like yeah, just tell us more about like what went into it from like behind the scenes kind of.
Man, okay, so I'll give you summaries of everything,
Yeah, sure.
and what inspired them. So like So Let's Go was my first track that I ever took out as like a solo artist. It's produced by Umang, UA Music. And
Shout out.
yes, shout out to Umang. So yeah, I mean, like the first lines are, I just got off the plane, call up my main, tell him I'm back and I'm better. So that was literally what happened.
Right.
I just moved back from the US. I had asked the love of my life to marry me. She said yes, and we moved back to India at the end of 2019. And when I was getting off the plane, I literally said, I just got off the plane, call up my main, tell him I'm back and I'm better. And the rest of the song is literally me trying to describe who my homies are, what do I do here, what is the city? Like and it was like more so talking to the community, talking with the
Right.
community, where it's like,
Yeah.
dude, we're doing our thing, but we're always gonna push each other, and
Yeah.
we have each other's backs. And it's in this city, 033 CCU, where we're gonna represent. So I was like,
Right.
let's fucking go. So let's
Yeah.
go. And then same thing.
That song banged, bro. Like,
Bro, it's still a banger. I mean, to the point where people still were like, bro, I love So Let's Go. And I was like, what about the other two that
yeah,
But-
but I mean,
but people
all,
can
all
relate,
three
yeah.
of them are great. Like, firstly, like if you haven't heard the song, you guys definitely need to check it out because
Yup.
like the flow is crazy. His sound is amazing. Like it's so different from like anything I've heard from any artist like in India. Like, and
Bro,
that's not
cheers.
just like an exaggeration. Like, I don't think that anyone's doing what you're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also primarily because you've had these like life experiences, like staying in Cali for that long,
Yep.
also being musically inclined here. And then when you come back, you still have the connections and the collaborations between both there and here. And
Right.
like kind of just bringing it all together is like pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And so like in between, after you came back from college, you were here for a bit and then you went back for your master's.
Yep. Yep.
And you went for your master's specifically to
Yeah.
understand more about like manufacturing processes and stuff.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, so tell us a little bit about. I know music is definitely like your passion and you keep doing it, but there's also that business side of you that's like hustling
Yep.
in the fashion space as well. So
Yeah.
tell the people a little bit about like your export business and
Uh-huh.
stuff like that.
So yeah, so I mean, just like I'm glad that you brought that up as well, because I feel like where I am right now has always been in the making. Because like you said, music and dance has always been a passion. There's the same thing in school. That was the
Right.
same thing in college. That
Right.
was the same thing when I started working, and that's the
Yeah.
same thing right now.
Yeah.
So I've learned to balance both, and the business is apparel manufacturing. Of course, we specialize in kidswear, and we are primarily in export businesses. And right now we're working on like a vertically integrated unit that takes the entire process from cut to like pack and export all under one house. And I'm project manager for that, so that's taking a life out of me. But I enjoy doing it. So like apart from just construction and everything, which is my life right now, I love fashion. I mean, the way that design melts into manufacturing and how manufacturing moves into engineering, because once it's designed and the design is perfect and it'll sell, you get into like producing the bulk of it. And producing the bulk of it is not just you shove it into a line and expect it to come out in a day. There's a lot of engineering involved. There's a lot of industrial engineering. There's a lot of calculation that's involved, which is like, okay, this is a great marriage of everything I've learned. Like I did my bachelor's in business and leadership, and then I did my master's in apparel manufacturing. So it's nice because a lot of people go to college and they're like, I didn't learn anything. I learned a lot more than the LinkedIn course I did, and now I have
Right.
a great job because of it. And I think I'm lucky because I actually am using what I learned in college.
That's great.
And I'm blessed for that. I mean, it's been great, and I love it. The marriage is great, and just being able to, because my creative side is never going to die.
Right.
Even if I stop making music at some point in
Yeah.
time, I know I'm going to be creative through design. I
Right.
know I'll be able to put an impact into the fashion world, fashion business, you call it
Yeah.
whatever. And yeah, it's great that I've been able to balance both, and hopefully kill it in both as well.
Yeah, so I mean, with regards to like the fashion export business, like I've been to your factories, I think they're fantastic.
Cheers.
But you're saying that you have something new lined up.
Hmm.
So is that to kind of diversify into other apparel products, or is it
Yes.
okay?
Yes, exactly. So I'm glad you asked again. These are fantastic questions because this is all that's been going on in my head lately.
Right.
So like I said, we specialize in kidswear right now because my dad and my mom, they started the company from scratch. They had a couple partners back in the day, but primarily what it is right now was built by both my parents. And my dad, he's fantastic story. Like he's one of 7 kids, and my grandfather used to live in the village. They moved to Cal and they built this business from scratch.
Nice.
So more so about it being like a foundation for me to take off. It's like I want to carry this legacy on because you built it from nothing, and if I am a part of your legacy, the rest should also follow up with me. So then his or their dream rather has been to make a massive factory which takes all these processes in house. At least majority of it, I would say 70% of the apparel manufacturing is under us.
Yeah.
The other 30% is like fabric making and exporting and getting into plastics and
Yeah.
stuff, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, that's big business. Not
Yeah.
yet. So yeah, we're building this new factory, and it's like it's there so that we can get into other markets. Like I said, streetwear is a big passion of mine. Because I'm in hip hop R&B and making music, by default, I'm going to look at clothing that I could wear and I
Yeah.
could make and do it myself. Like even in this new factory, I have like a small space that I've called it like the photo shoot studio. Which is the entire area is just dedicated to having models in and
Nice.
taking photo shoots and displaying the product, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work. And even in terms of streetwear, I mean, these days I've been noticing a lot of brands pop up out of nowhere. A lot of them have family backgrounds as well, and a lot of them claim to be sustainable, which I'm like, okay, sure, there's multiple ways you can call yourself sustainable, so let's see how we can do it.
Right.
And that's the whole thing behind this new place, which is like we're trying to get into the innovation of things rather than make and sell.
Yeah, and that's like I think one of the I think, coolest ways to go about it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And not just coolest, like, I think that's probably in terms of long term sustainable growth, as well as like actually having a long term vision for like the export house is
Hmm.
like really cool, because I feel like if you invest in R&D, like that's the main thing, right?
Yes, it is. It is. And I mean, I really want to invest in the R&D part, because a lot of the days, a lot of what's happening right now these days is that people just copy paste concepts from abroad.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, in terms of the capsules they take out, the
Hmm.
seasons they follow, the
For
collections
sure.
that they like. You follow a couple of Instagram handles here and there, and you will find exactly where the inspiration lies.
And it's not just that, unfortunately, like there's a lot of copying happening between like other brands in India
Mm-hmm.
within each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have like so many new like streetwear brands popping up almost daily.
Yep.
But you can see that the source of it is still the few like maybe 10, 15 brands that are probably like doing it the right way, or
Mm-hmm.
like actually creating something cool and unique. So yeah, like obviously innovation in manufacturing is something that people are really looking forward to in general, right?
True. 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 True.
And if India can be the hub of that, or like we create our own space
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to streetwear, or our own identity
Mm-hmm.
or processes that can't be like kind of easily replicated anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that we're into fashion now, but like, I'll say one thing. So streetwear is essentially skate culture. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like, it's because skate culture is a part of the streets, so therefore it is streetwear. And but here in India, streetwear is more, like, I don't know how to put it, more luxurized. Is that a word? Like, it's more like upscale and luxury, like to the
Hmm.
point where like you can get away with wearing a oversized t-shirt at like a fancy dinner because it's considered upscale. And
Okay, yeah. So I have my own opinion about this. I don't know if people agree or disagree, but I think that streetwear in India is specifically like alt culture.
Mhm.
So like if you say, like you're a little different, say your sport interests are basketball and football and not cricket,
Mhm.
that automatically puts you into this alt culture vibe.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
like
Hmm. Hmm.
listening to hip hop music and not Bollywood music. You like tattoo surf skate culture and
Hmm.
not, like it's like kind of, I mean, even skate culture in its like, I guess, early essence is somewhat rebellious and alternate
Yes.
indie-ish
Yeah. Yeah.
by
Yeah. Yeah.
nature,
Yeah.
right? So it's like what's indie in India, basically.
Hmm.
So like while the mainstream is like Bollywood and like cricket and some of these other things,
Hmm.
I think that this other space is kind of where streetwear lives. But I agree with you that unfortunately not everyone kind of views it like that. Like
Hmm.
a lot of it is also just like uh we didn't have a really big or long phase in actually developing streetwear like that.
Hmm.
And we kind of just went into like a high street kind of phase, which is like, you know, um, high street is like the next step. It's not the starting step.
Yeah. Yeah.
So luxury streetwear is
Hmm.
like what high street is, and high street didn't exist till recently, till like Virgil and Kanye and like
Yeah, but
Heron
that's not even
Preston's.
recent. Like, how long ago was that? Like almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, but like streetwear is like,
Yeah, it's
skate
street
and surf is going on for
exactly.
a while. Like Stussy and all have been around for like a
Dude,
while.
so like what it used to be before it gained luxury status, it used to be street. It's
Yeah,
always been like that, and
yeah,
now luxury streetwear because of like Virgil and Off White and
yeah.
LV and
Like
Balenciaga. They're
Fear of God.
yes,
Yeah.
they're getting these like people who built everything from scratch on board and basically like adding the luxury label on top of
Yeah,
streetwear.
I think that it's just like so there's also this other take of streetwear, which is like it's just t-shirts, hoodies, sweatpants,
Hmm.
and
Like
like
cohort
these,
sets,
yeah, like
essentially. Yeah.
specific like product categories. And the fact that these luxury houses are investing in these product categories instead of what they would have focused on, which was like, like kind of coming up with avant-garde shit,
Hmm. Hmm.
and even like, couture and their ready-to-wear clothing lines, but now have incorporated, t-shirts and these other things to still sell at these high price
Yeah,
points,
yeah, and I mean,
is basically what makes luxury streetwear essentially.
exactly. I mean, I feel like they go hand in hand with Silicon Valley work attire
Hmm.
kind of accepting luxury streetwear, because
Right.
it's not like Silicon Valley work attire and California work attire in general is very like casual.
Super casual.
Like people are wearing
Steve Jobs is the fashion icon.
yes,
What else do you need to know?
nothing more kind of iconic than the black turtleneck, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
like, there's nothing over it.
Yeah.
And that's what it's done. So now I feel like what the gateway towards luxury streetwear was these people accepting casual wear as something you could wear to work or even a good night out. I mean, the what exemplifies it is that there was a study between all the Beverly Hills stores, and they were going and asking all the retail assistants or the retail in charges in general, like, who do you think walking into the store is more likely to buy something at your store? And bear in mind, this is Rodeo Drive I'm talking about, like
Hmm.
all the stores in Rodeo
Yeah,
Drive.
yeah.
They went and did a study there, and majority of them said the person who's wearing sweatshirts and sneakers is probably going to buy much more than someone who's wearing a shirt and tie or a fancy bag and walking into the store, because they know that the person who actually shops at the store is not going to get ready to come to the store.
Oof. Yeah.
So, and that exemplifies it, like someone wearing streetwear cohort sets or luxury streetwear, where
Yeah.
you won't know something looks expensive until you go and see like the logo here, or like there's a
Hmm.
massive back print, AOP print of Balenciaga or something of the
Yeah.
sort, you know. But from far, it looks like a normal just sweatshirt and pant. And
Right.
every retail assistant said, yeah, they're more likely to spend a bomb and walk out of here with probably nothing in their hand because someone is carrying for them,
Hmm.
versus the person who came all ready because they're more likely to be a tourist or
That's interesting.
anyone just coming into the store.
Yeah, I feel like there is parallels to that, like even here, which is like, I guess, in a way, like maybe the rich people in India, like who are inclined towards like the luxury streetwear aspect
Hmm.
in general, and it might just be like I feel like that's high street for sure. That's
It
like
is.
luxury street.
It is, but
But I feel like in its essence, like if you look at stuff like Supreme and Stussy and stuff,
mhm.
it's like basically, like just heavyweight t-shirts that aren't even of the best quality,
Yeah, yeah.
and just like some graphic prints, and kind of the whole idea behind all these skate tees were to kind of represent your crew, right?
Hmm.
So Supreme was like, to represent like New York skate scene in a specific area, you
Yeah,
know?
I remember we spoke about this when you were just starting out,
Yeah.
where you bought that domain, but it was a conversation that we had where it was like fake but real
I'm
t-shirts.
actually doing it.
No way.
Yeah, it's on.
No
I'm gonna
way.
drop it soon actually.
Dude, that'll be fire, because that is the birth of Supreme. That's what they
Yeah.
did. They sat with Photoshop and Illustrator. They took famous brands and
I'll
this.
show you some stuff afterwards, but we
Okay,
have to
okay,
cut
we
this
got
part.
sneak peeks.
um, but yeah, like coming back to like the whole, it's kind of like being part of a community or
Hmm.
identifying as someone, right?
Right, right.
And of course, there will always be those rich people that will want to be identified with, say, like a luxury brand, or
Hmm.
like what's new and what's trendy and stuff.
Hmm.
And it just
Hmm.
happens that right now streetwear is like on the up and is the
Yeah,
trend.
I mean, it's more like the kids of these families. I
Yeah, yeah.
mean, we can also slightly relate because like we're in the middle of all of it all.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've noticed. But that intent from the study that I was talking about is not here. I'll tell you why. The birthday that we celebrated at Roots,
Mm.
I walked in there with a hoodie and like sneakers. I'm pretty good sneakers. I'm not gonna lie. They were
Hmm.
the Nike Elevate, so like good
Hmm.
looking ones. And I had a hoodie on, which was also I don't know if this one, but something else.
Hmm.
The guy didn't. The guy thought that I was not serious when I said I'm gonna throw like I'm gonna have a throwdown of at least 80 people over here.
Yeah.
Like didn't even care. He had one assistant first talked to me and she was like, sir, it's not a party of 14, 15. It's a party of 40, 50 plus.
Yeah.
But he didn't care until I didn't drop numbers. And then I was like, okay, I'm serious. Here's the advance.
Yeah.
Here's the menu items. And then he was like, oh, dang, for sure. So like, even though streetwear is luxury in our eyes, it's not something that
No, man,
is
it's for sure
like
because
passing on everywhere else.
that's like I feel like a cultural thing, which because streetwear is still like at a very early stage in Calcutta.
Yeah, it's nascent. It's
Yeah,
nascent.
it's very nascent. Because like the same thing happened to us. Like we were trying to go to CCNFC for New Year's, and we had bought tickets and everything. And then as soon as we enter, Rahul gets stopped, and even Avinash because they were. So Rahul was wearing like a Palm Angels hoodie.
Ooh,
And-
those are sick.
Yeah, and Avinash was wearing some like cool white sneakers or something. Like, and they were just like, this doesn't adhere to the dress code.
Oh.
And you know, like it's still like that because I mean, you could have dressed up in like maybe an entire Zara outfit, but that Palm Angels hoodie is probably more expensive than,
That's
or
true.
probably one of the more expensive outfits that anyone was wearing, like in general. But you don't
Easily.
even get entry into places because they think you're not serious enough, like you said.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I feel like that culture to change is gonna take some time. Like I think, dude, it took so long for people to get even okay with the idea of ripped jeans. Like I remember when I used to come back from college, and like everyone was just like, "Bro, why are you wearing these ripped jeans and stuff?" 2 years later, everyone's wearing ripped jeans. Just like, bro,
They
like
were pre-ripped or ripped on their own.
I have ripped my own jeans.
Okay.
I've also bought jeans that are ripped. And yeah.
I've never gotten into ripped jeans.
Yeah, I just had a phase and it was fine. And like the thing is that I've always tried to be a little bit ahead of like the thing. So like maybe a couple of years back I was into like these printed like Hawaiian shirts and stuff.
Oh, I remember
Now
that.
to everyone wears it. Before
Yeah.
people used to like call me out in nightclubs being like, "Bhai, tum beach mein aaye kya?" Like, bro, you always dress like as if you're going to a beach or something. Now all the same guys are wearing that stuff. I remember when I used to wear animal prints and stuff as well, and people were like, "Oh, you're wearing leopard print and stuff. Like, isn't it a little weird?"
Dude, it's
Now
people in
everyone is wearing the same
it's
shit.
people in Cal, bro. Like we
They
did
have to
more.
see someone else wear,
yeah.
like, do something
Yeah.
first, I feel like.
Like, people need to learn to like dare. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Just be a little bold. I remember like the moment I started wearing tints because I was like, yeah, I mean, I like tints.
Yeah.
I want to wear them.
Yeah.
People called me out. They're like, oh, nice tints, but why? And it's like, then their standard homie will be like, Andhera mein kai chashma pehen raha hai, bro. I was like, dude, why? Why can't I? I can see right
Yeah.
through them, and it kind of like is better because it doesn't hit the lights,
Right.
don't hit my eyes and shit.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, people need to keep an open mind, man.
Keep an open mind
Yeah.
and kind of be okay experimenting. Like, definitely, I guess the one advice that we're both, I guess, giving is that definitely keep trying out different things. Like,
Yeah.
you might really like how you feel in certain
Dude,
things.
yes, and it's not just streetwear. Like just in general, I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of identities and a lot of personalities are like, like dying, suppressed under peer pressure. That
Yeah.
someone might make a comment.
Yeah.
But let them make that comment, bro. Like,
Dude, honestly,
Yeah.
like if they are also making that comment, it just means that like you are definitely standing out. Like,
yes, and the comment might be with the intent of an inquisitive, like with
Yeah.
inquisitiveness,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
where it's like,
it's not malintentioned always.
Huh.
Like a lot of the times they just want to say like you're kind of looking cool, but like we have that like guard in our culture. Where, like in America, still people like if you're wearing something cool, people do not shy
No,
in complimenting
no,
people
not
like,
at all.
"Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I fuck with that."
But
But here it's like even if you fuck with it, you're just like, "Bro, I can't give him that edge."
Yeah, not yet, not yet. Like,
नहीं,
even-
उसका ego बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा हो जाएगा.
the same friend who's like अंधेरा में क्यों चश्मा पहना है, bro? I feel
He'll
like
come take the
the
tips.
follow up question is अच्छा दिखाना. Then they'll wear,
Bro,
you know,
for
they'll
real.
wear it. They'll want to wear it.
The same stuff happens all the time. Like my friend, he'll make a comment. Then a couple of days later, he's like, "Yo, bro, I don't have anything to wear. Can I borrow that one?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Acha, beta, that was your intention." You basically won this.
Yeah, no, people need to like put their guard down a little bit.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, I want to talk a little bit about this because obviously, it's a big part of your life, and it's a pretty unique experience what you're going through, right?
Mhm.
So firstly, shout out Shante Bhabi. Uh, I've been calling her Shanti Bhabi. Sorry, but so like you and Shante met in college, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
And now y'all are married
Mhm.
and she's living here.
Yeah.
How's that been? And what kind of impact does she have in your life, both in terms of as a person, in
Mhm.
music, as a
Mhm.
businessman, however you want it?
I mean, she's like I don't know where to start. I mean, we met in college in back in 2013, so we've lived a third of our lives together.
Right.
So we are bound to be have some type of personality that's common in between us.
Right.
But the personalities that are not common between us are very complementary. It's like even our time through college and everything, we did long distance for 1.5 years. When I moved back for the masters, I was living with her. That's exactly when I asked her to marry me, and we moved back here. When we moved back here, I don't know if this is a blessing or a curse, but whatever happened happens for a reason. Let's just say that to everyone. The universe is playing its cards. Just deal with what you're dealt.
Right.
And we moved back in December 2019. We had a small engagement ceremony in February.
I was
5 days.
there.
Yeah, of course you were there.
I
I mean,
know.
not a lot of us remember that engagement, but we were all there.
Yeah.
And then 5 days later, we were all put in a lockdown.
Yeah.
In what it was end Feb in March, we put in a lockdown. So like literally, we were four of us rather were or five of us because Varun moved back right before they stopped international flights. Five of us were thrown into a house after 5-6 years or so of not living together. My parents, my brother, my then fiance, now wife, and me. Shoved into a house and locked up, and were like, now you live
Wild.
for the next 6 weeks. Dude, we had like there's no other better way to put it, bhayankar fights. Matlab, like shouting matches here and there, like threats, screams, blah, 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 this, that, like 2 weeks in. Matlab, we couldn't, it wasn't even me, it was just external stuff.
Yeah,
2 weeks
yeah.
in, we all started fighting with each other. But 2.5 weeks in, we all love each other. It was almost like whatever was bottled up
Yeah.
came out, whatever had to be addressed got addressed.
Right.
And we were like, why fight? Why do all of this? I'm not talking about me and Shante. With me and Shante, it's always been an us against the world.
Yeah.
But getting thrown into that and
In
moving into
general.
India in general, which is
Yeah.
I'm so proud of her for how she's adapted and picked it up so
Crazy,
fast.
man.
She was head on, like, I'm going to make this my culture. Like we
Yeah,
are,
for sure.
and I'm going to make this my culture without my identity getting lost.
Oh, for sure.
Which I'm so proud of her, and I like love her for it every single day. But it's like, you can be head on, but also welcome a culture in.
Yeah, for sure.
And she did that really well. Like after the lockdown and everything was over, I mean, now she's found her own set of friends here.
Yeah.
She's already applying to jobs because now she can. And that too, not with us, although we are also working on a certain project together, which
Okay.
you'll find out later, maybe in the next podcast we're on. Yeah, and we're doing everything together, and she's leading her own life, and I get filled in on it most of the times.
That's
Like
cool.
I'm like, oh, what do you do? I did this, I met this person, I went this, and I came back home, I did this, and I was like, wow. You know what I mean? Like, it's great, and I love her for accepting this side of the family and the world for that matter. And yeah, she's fantastic. She's great. There's nothing more I
Amazing,
can say. Yeah,
It's amazing.
yeah.
Honestly, an inspiration for me because I also
Yes,
am dating
yeah.
someone.
Likewise, we're two peas in a pod more than we'd know.
Right. So yeah, like tell us like when you were like kind of wait, this make this an open-ended question. Like
I
what are some of the struggles and challenges that you faced when you wanted to kind of make your own music? And the second part of the question is, what are some of the struggles and challenges that you faced at work with like your fashion export house and stuff?
Well, first I'm gonna say to get both of them in together
Yeah.
is the biggest challenge,
Right.
because it's a weighing scale.
Yeah.
Sometimes the amount of obligation or the amount of projects that you want to take up will outweigh the other. But this weighing scale will never fall over. It's
Right.
always going to keep balancing itself out. So when I started getting into music, I was blessed again because it was the fucking lockdown.
Right.
You know, and a lot of my songwriting that I was doing in 2019, I was able to sit down and actually like do it at home.
Mm.
I'd gotten like a recording setup and everything a long time ago, so everything was set. All I had to do was just get on the mic. And since the entire world was on lockdown, Omang sitting in UK, we were back and forth almost every day because we have nothing else to do. And we quickly came up with the first track. So that wasn't the challenge. Making music is never the challenge.
Right.
The challenge starts right after the song is done, where
Right.
you put it up even a little bit before it releases. You like, for example, on my end, apart from producing the music and a lot of the mixing and mastering, I do everything on my own.
Right.
Whether it be the artwork, the press, the PR, the email campaigns, everything. It's
Right.
once the song is done is where my job actually begins and the challenges
Right.
starts. And I learned a lot over the last 3 releases. I would say that the first one, it was accepted really well. I was surprised by how far and wide it went. At that point in time, I figured out a lot of the contacts, the PR, the people I need to reach and how to approach them. And then by the second time, the No Stress has been my biggest release so far. It's because I learned whatever I learned from So Let's Go, I applied in No Stress, and it was like did wonders for me. And we also had a music video for it, which I mean, link here or there somewhere.
For
Which I mean, shout out to Zed, Dave, and even Sambo at that point in time. Like they really helped me a lot.
That's a very innovative video.
Another thing we did in the lockdown. That entire place is my house.
Yeah.
It's Connor's. You know my house,
Yeah,
but for
but-
people,
yeah, right.
for people who just watch the video or something, that
Yeah.
entire place is my house, and it's surprising because even the people who live in the house and you show them the video, they're like, "How did you make the house look like that?" You know, like because when they came back, they're like, "It doesn't even look like you shot here."
Right.
Because everything was set up and cleaned up so fast that it didn't even look like it.
Before Mama started.
Yeah. No, mom and dad were pretty chill about it. I said, you get out of the house, you come back at 2. And they did. They came back at 3, which was great. So yeah, a lot of that stuff. I mean, the challenges I faced in music was like more so about how to get my voice out there, which I still do every day. And it kind of, I'm like desensitized to a lot of the stuff now. It's important to stay consistent. And at the same time, it's a shortcoming of mine as well, where I've not been consistent.
Right.
But I have been consistently releasing a year apart, and I have features here and there. So that's my level of consistency
Right.
because of the way I approach things.
Yeah, but like you're creating quality and not quantity.
Exactly.
So
exactly. I
that's-
mean,
That's what matters.
I have like a vault of like unreleased music I could just put up on SoundCloud, but that's not how I want to put things out.
Yeah.
You know,
You want it to be a journey. of
some
sorts.
type of thought process, even the way you package it. Like I said, the biggest
Structure.
challenge is when the song is done.
Right. The marketing aspect.
Yeah. I want to tell the story properly, and that's majority of the thing.
Yeah.
And that's where, when this challenge occurs, is where I start facing challenges at work because I find myself doing this at work.
Oh yeah.
But that's, I mean, in all fairness, and before I get any flack for it, like I do it when I have free time.
Right.
I don't sacrifice
Yeah,
one
yeah.
or the other.
It's like you're not, if you find yourself like you have some free time, instead of what a lot of people do is just act like they're doing something. You're
Yeah.
doing something that you care about.
Exactly. And I mean, going back to what I learned back in the day and through my journey as like a student, a bachelor, I forget the word for it, someone approaching bachelor, someone getting into work and everything, is that
Young adult.
yeah, a young adult. Like I learned this thing that we learned in dance was perfection. After we picked up a choreography, we'd spend an hour, or not an hour, a week just perfecting what we picked up. So perfection was something that was really inculcated in me. Like through the 8 count bar, I realized like this was something really important. So that's what I apply in life these days too. Is like sometimes I want to not approach things because I know I won't have time to perfect it.
Cool.
So like, you know, even in terms of the brand, I've been telling you about it for years now.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
like, I remember one cryptic message I sent you 1 year ago or something, and then it's been radio silence. It's because I've been perfecting it. I've been
Okay.
making sure when I get it out there, I
I thought
have
that you just abandoned
no, no, no,
it.
no, no, no. I all have it written somewhere in some
Yeah,
book
no,
that's there
I
in the
just
office.
figured that like you're pretty busy with, the expansion of the new project
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
Because I can imagine how time consuming it might be to even open a
Dog,
new factory, dude. Like,
you have no idea the amount of calls I just silenced while sitting here
yeah,
because it's still a Friday and I'm getting a lot
yeah,
of calls. But the moment I get in my car after we're done, I'm like,
yeah.
pop,
You're
pop,
just
pop.
gonna have to keep because
Yeah,
you're like building a factory from scratch, right?
yeah, man. Touch wood. I hope it goes well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
Tell us, like, do you have any future? You're saying that you have a lot of songs in the world, but do you
Hmm.
have any plans for any future releases anytime soon, or
Yeah.
maybe an album eventually?
Yes. So I'm glad again. I'm so happy with the questions today. I am working on an EP.
Okay.
It's always, yeah, and it's like I said, it goes back into how I've been inspired by the people I listen to, and I'm taking my time to perfect it. I
Hmm.
just don't want to put it out there for the sake
Yeah,
of
for
being
sure.
consistent. You know what I mean?
Nah.
Yeah. So I have stuff,
Yeah.
and it's very close to the 1 year mark now. So definitely something is
So
dropping.
when can people expect in some kind of time frame?
Well, because I'm so much into work, I'd say the end of the financial year.
So
Uh,
end of financial year is now, bro. that's that's again cryptic, bro. This guy, like when Jan, right?
just
So like
crip walking.
March, just or like after March, Aprilish,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
March, April.
yeah,
Damn, bro. Okay,
yeah.
that's soon.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Like I said, I keep working on stuff and I'm just like, when I have the perfect idea out there, I just make sure that it comes out perfectly as well. And I mean, it might be perfect for me and not perfect for someone else, but hey, beauty's in the eye of the
Yeah, fair enough.
beholder.
Also, do you have any future collaborations when it comes to music or fashion?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's all I will say.
All right. So definitely look out for the man's Yush,
Yup.
both his artist profile as well as the fun stuff he's doing with business as well.
Yep.
Hopefully, you start posting more stuff about that. I think people
Yeah.
would be interested in that.
No, honestly, I really want to. I mean,
And in case you're watching this and you're like a brand owner that wants to do some fun stuff,
yeah, yeah, hit me
definitely
up.
hit him
Hit
up.
me up.
Like,
Yeah, hit up 10 Hill Studio because they'll probably be involved as well. And we can take it up from there.
for sure.
Yeah.
And Piyush, just tell everyone where they can find you and stuff.
Okay. You can find me anywhere and everywhere and any when. There's a great
That's
movie that
deep,
I watched,
bro.
bro. Any when is a new thing I've learned from this new movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay.
Do watch it, but before I plug a movie, let me plug myself. So you can find me on Apple Music, Spotify, your favorite streaming service. On Instagram, you can find me as PIYUSHC. That's at PiyushC. And I'm also on Twitter and YouTube, but I'm mostly on Instagram. And you can find me in your ears and your hearts whenever you do check my shit out. Yeah.
Tell them about how they like your artist name is different, right? So it's
Yeah.
Y with the U and then there's two dots.
Dog. This word, this name thing right now has become like a little bit of a stressor for me because there's someone
It's
that
so
is.
tough to find. And also, yeah, there's someone on Spotify I was searching last
Yeah,
night.
yeah. So there is the Y normal USH, that's one artist. Now there's a Y double OSH, that's another artist. And I knew this was going to happen when I first was picking my name. Plus, like, it's not like I picked my artist name. YÜSH is what people called me in college.
Right.
So I ran with it.
Right.
But I spelled it different so I could, keep myself apart from a lot of the acts out there.
But
so mine
it's-
is.
that U thing is problematic to type though.
No, it's not, dude. You just have. Okay, so anyone.
On
Who,
normal keyboard it is, like laptop and stuff. Maybe not on the phone.
no, phone also is damn easy. So anyone watching,
No,
just
I
put.
meant on the phone it's easy, not on the laptop.
Laptop also is easy.
How do you get that character?
Dude, okay, just put like a screen thing over here so that people know. Or if you have a MacBook, you just hold the U down and tap on two.
On two.
On two.
Okay.
Because once you hold the U down, you'll get like a small
who
menu.
The fuck is supposed to know that, bro?
The person who came up with the. But then if you type no stress YÜSH, like normal YÜSH, you will find my shit. So
Okay,
like
cool.
I set it up in a way where both spellings work.
Right.
It's just that whenever it's around release time, you'll find my name with my release without putting the special U. But when it's not release time and it's just like sometime in the middle of the year, that's when you will have to do it. But you hold on U and tap 2. You will find a menu. And on the phone, it's even easier. You just, again, hold on
Yeah.
U and you,
That
yeah.
that's easier.
So it's like, it's all caps, Y, umlaut U, that's what it's called, SH. And it's supposed to, like, emphasize the U because a lot of people read it as YUSH, Yush. I was like, why would that happen in India? We spell Yash as YASH.
Right.
But it happens. But for the record, and one time only, it's YÜSH with the special U.
All right.
That's it.
That's it. That's all for today. And really appreciate you for coming through.
Dude, of course,
There's
bro.
always
Anytime.
love.
Anytime.
And yeah, see you at the next podcast episode. And if you haven't already subscribed, then please do.
Yes. Like, share, subscribe.
subscribe, and
Tap
just
the
kind of
bell icon if
yeah,
that
dude,
works.
it's mostly just like it's not so much that we're looking at subscriber counts and stuff. It's mostly that we want
Yeah.
our message to get out there.
Dude, yes. And I mean, before you sign out for us, I just want to say, like, thank you for setting this up. Like, there's a lot of culture dissipation when it comes to Cal. Like, there's a lot of bubbles here and there. So it's nice, like, you're putting the front step where it's like, let me get people from different backgrounds, different industries, and let's have a conversation.
Yeah, for
let's
sure.
not plug each other here and there. Let's just talk about what's up with Cal and
Yeah.
how Cal is putting itself on the map. And you're doing a great job doing that, bro.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that.
Yeah, check them out. Check out 10L Studio online. Check out the store. And if you're ever in Cal by any chance, because apparently that's a huge feat for anyone outside of Cal to come to Cal, go check out the store because it's fire. 100%.
All right, that's all for today. Peace out.
Cheers, peace.